All right, guys, so we're on part 3 here of this 6170R. We got the park lock parts ordered this morning. So what I'm going to do is I got a transmission front pump assembly coming. I want to put a new pump in it while I've got it apart. And I was talking to another friend of mine. He said, yeah, you better order this whole block. He said, I had one of these that I tore apart one time in it, and he said it was cracked. He said it had to have been cracked somewhere in this valve network, all these lands here somewhere. He said that he had the same troubles. He said they had damaged it by putting it in the park while it was moving, and he had just replaced the roll pin and the lever, and he said he had to do the whole job again. You know, and he ate about half of it. He worked a deal out with his customer, but he said he replaced the whole thing, the whole shit and caboodle there to make it, and he said it was fine after that. So anyways, so now what we're doing, we got diff lock. So on the 6105 to 6130, I think, tractors, they had a diff lock coil that was similar to like the 6715 or something like that, that had the lines that were external that were coming back here. But these 6170s and the larger tractors, they don't have that. You have to do the test like we did for the diff lock with the lube pressure port. That's the way you do them with your element check with the onboard diagnostics. What you saw was leaking really bad on that element. So we got a train coming down the track here. It sounds like it's going from, it's heading, so where's it going? It's heading south. They're always loaded going south and always empty going north. Anyway, got the oil dumped here. Where am I at now? I was noticing everything on these newer tractors is metric, and these guys jam this PTO shield here, they jam some SAE bolts in it. It's like unbelievable, dude. Okay, and I do have to eat a little bit of crow on this. I got in a hurry on this. I should have washed this off. I have to admit that. I got in a big hurry and I just started ripping and tearing because I'm got such a big load on me right now. So I will confess, I should have washed it off, but life will go on. I've torn them apart out in the middle of the fields. I've torn the PTOs off these things out in the middle of the fields and put them back together. So with the sand and the dirt blowing on me and everything, so I know that it's better when you can clean them up, but life will go on. So where is this line going? Because obviously the PTO is not going to come past it. So it's going to be, well, I think it's going to be this one right here. Yeah. Okay, so this is the line here. So we got to remove this line completely in order to facilitate getting that out of there. Oh, come on. This part up under here, you're not going to get clean anyway. You can't, once with the cab on these things, you can't hardly get them clean anyway. Been down that road. You can get the back end clean. You can't get the underneath here. Yeah, good luck. You're not getting that clean, but you could get the back clean there where I'm tearing that apart, I have to admit. But I am what they call a human being. I will say, well, I got in a hurry. I probably should have cleaned that off, but it is what it is. Oh my gosh. Maybe if I take this Allen head loose right here that's support bracket. And that'll kind of loosen the line up. Maybe I can get it out a little easier. Oh, at least most of the first cutting hay is done. And that kind of slowed some of the service calls down. But second, it's so hot. The hay's going so fast that second's right around the corner. So I'm not going to get hardly a reprieve at all this year. I went out there right there. One of my other bigger customers, they had an H9880, the same H9880 I did the hydraulic video on. Well, they broke the spring hanger, the shackle, where it's welded to the main frame. They busted that sumbitch clear off of there. I went over there to weld, do a couple welding jobs. I had to weld on that, as well as the, what is that, a W103, the newer bell wagon. Well, the def tank had fallen off of it and was hanging on the hoses. So of course New Holland's kind of notorious for doing that on them bell wagons. They're really made light duty. You know, there ain't much to, a lot of it's just real tinny type of sheet metal junk on them. Let me wiggle the hose while I'm talking and all that shit. But anyways, I went over there I went to weld that spring. I never seen one of those break on one of those belt wagons. Well, I just grabbed it, and they already had a jack in her there and had it jacked up off the ground. Well, you should have seen the spring eye bushings that were worn out in that dirty son of a bitch. I'm telling you, they were worn slap ass out. Holy shit. I said, well, that's why you're where in the hell was that at? Huh. Okay. Can I get this out of here? Or do I just need to leave it where it's at and not have to fight it back in there? Because maybe I'll just leave it right where it's at. How's that sound? And then we don't need to pull it clear out of there as long as we can get the PTO past it. Does that sound like a plan? I think that sounds like a really good idea. We can just leave her right there. We'll cap these ends. Put this little bracket back in there. I don't know where in the hell that was clipped onto that line somewhere in there. Here goes the phone again. It's been non-stop this morning. Okay, so I got that kind of set aside and got the little bracket right there. Got my line, my ends capped, going into that. What else? We got to get this line here off. Where's my handy dandy wrench pliers at? No, but that bell wagon, I went out there and the spring eye bushings were just absolutely just some of the worst I've ever seen. I said, well, that's why your spring hanger, spring shackle broke. Jeez, that is bad. So that's something else I got on my plate to go do. To go fix that. I got an expansion valve I need to go put in I thought I was going to take Sunday off, but I put the radiator in that Western Star I was telling you about the other day, and we went to do his air conditioning while we were there because we pulled the condenser off and pulled it out of the way when we had the radiator out of it. It was just easier. And no, what was the deal? Oh, when I was going to leave the condenser in it and not discharge the system. Well, all I did was unbolt the condenser off the front of the radiator, and I just laid it down and put just a little bit of down pressure on the discharge line coming out of and it split right by the line split on the rubber, right past the crimp on there, and started leaking. I called him, I said, frickin' line's leaking. He said, well, go ahead and recover as much of it as you can, because he was gone, and we'll get a new line for it. And so anyways, went to put the condenser back on there, and the dirty son of a bitch, I started charging the air conditioner on it, and the system supposedly with a day cab takes 3.88 pounds, and with a sleeper it's closer to 5. So I'm wondering if I can just leave that put. I think I can. And once I get it out, I'll put a cap on it. And yeah, I kind of thought that was a little odd. They had all this shit unplugged right here. So, so we got to get the leak off lines undone. And I think the easiest way to do that is just pull it off right up here on the T. But, let's see here. I don't know if you can see anything. Probably looking into that bright light right there. I don't know where to put the son of a bitch at. I need two hands though. But you just sit there and wonder how much longer this thing can last. And you know, I've been reading a very interesting book. I like reading these books that they ban and stuff because, you know, why did they ban these books? You know, if all this information that they supposedly say is bad for you, that they go out and they ban, if it was that bad for you, why'd they ban it? I mean, if you could disprove some of these things that they call conspiracy theories so easily, then why would you not put the information? Why wouldn't you just say let people decide for themselves and let them make that decision for themselves? So when they start censoring things, that's a big red flag to me. That must be telling there's something they're trying to hide. You know, there's something that they don't want people knowing. So anyway, they haven't banned this book, I don't believe, because it's on Amazon Prime and all that stuff still. But I'm sure if enough people start buying it and enough information gets out there, I'm sure they will ban it. But the book is by a guy named Stephen Goodson, and he was an actual big-time banker in South Africa. And it's called The History of International Banking and the Enslavement of Mankind. And I'm telling you what, guys, I've always kind of known about a lot of that stuff. I didn't really know the history and particulars of the international banking system, but I'll tell you, if you read that, you'll realize how screwed we are. I mean, we're totally screwed. There's no... this bubble that's going to break, people have no idea what an insurmountable amount of money, what are we, 32, 33, 34 trillion dollars in debt? People have no idea what an insurmountable amount of money $1 trillion is, let alone 32 trillion. Let's put it this way, it's an amount of money that can never be paid back. Never. It'll never happen. Never going to happen. I think there's what'd the guy tell me? If you spent $1,000 a day, how many years would it take you to, was it $1,000? I don't remember what the exact figure. It was something like $1,000 a day. If you spend $1,000 a day, how many years would it take you to spend $1 trillion? It would take you 34,000 years to spend $1 trillion. That's how much a trillion is. If I might be wrong on my math there, but anyway, it's a long time. It's a lot of money. So anyway, that being said, what the hell is this? Is a nipple in here? The leak off lines are off. I think we're ready to actually pull the PTO out of it, if I remember right. I'll pull it off this way. What I'm going to do is take that big bolt they had in here in the center link. I'll just grab it right there at the crane, pull it off. The biggest thing is these international bankers. It's the biggest theft, and these international bankers have been doing this for hundreds of years. They finance both sides of the wars, so they make money on both ends. If you ever caught on to how screwed up and evil these people are, you know, and you really start opening your eyes and how they divide people, and they intentionally fund all these things to where they get people fighting with each other over race and over class warfare. It's all the same, you know, and they get everybody fighting, and you know what? They're sitting there raking it in the whole time. And, you know, you're going to have your typical People, oh, conspiracy theorist. Yeah, whatever. If you're that naive to think it's all conspiracy theories, and keep living in la la land, because I'll tell you what, while they're sitting there laughing at your dumbass the whole time. I got the PTO out of it. I pulled the differential lock solenoid valve out. I was just kind of curious if like the valve might have just came apart or something stupid or weird that I've never seen before, but everything looks intact on the solenoid control valve that goes in it. It goes in, you can see it'll come right to the bottom of the case right there. So I wish there was just a way a guy could air check things on this. I might look at this a little bit harder. Is there a place where a guy could stick a blower nozzle? So the oil must be coming in through there. And then how is it getting ported to the differential? Right through that hole right there. You can see where they cross drilled it right there. I wonder if we can put some air up in through that with a angled, I don't have an angled rubber tip blow nozzle, but I got a regular one that might fit in there. And just see what the fuck's going on, huh? one side off. Brake disc, lay it on the bench. There should be another one in here. And then of course you got the lock plates you got to pull off. This is your side bearing adjustment here. Okay, I gotta get this side off now. All right, we're in the process of, gotta pull the rock shaft because this tube here has to come out. There's 2 hold down clamps inside, and you gotta get this hose, well, I'll show you, I guess. The rock shaft's gotta come off so you can get this fitting out back in here. This is quite a frickin' job. Where'd my screwdriver go, Josie Wells? Don't know, I thought I just had it in my hand, but I don't know what I've done with it. I kind of like to cinch that hose clamp up just a little bit so it doesn't fall off of there, but maybe I can get lucky enough to get it up there, maybe. No, it's gonna fall off. Okay, those leak off lines, all that stuff can stay there. That's already unhooked. Okay. What about this? Where's that going? Back in there. I can pull all that shit back through, I believe. Well, actually, when I unbolt the rock shaft. So the hitch lines, what's going to be the easiest way to go about doing that? Probably the easiest way is just to pull it off the T right here. But I would have to take this bracket loose here. There ain't too much to take off to lift this off of there. But this, yeah, I'm wishing I would have, definitely wishing that I would have cleaned this up before I tore this down. That was kind of a screw up, but it's okay. We've got a solvent blower. We'll make sure everything's spotless before we go back together, especially internal parts. Okay, the discharge line coming off, going into the priority blocks, coming off here's your piston pump here with your compensator. Gotta pull that off. This is an attenuator here. And this is gonna be a load sense line here, going to the priority block. So that's gotta come off, that's gotta come off. A lot of shit's gotta come off. All right, guys, so list of things here you got to remove off the rock shaft. Okay, so drain line coming off your priority block, going down, this goes down into a port down in here. You got to get that off, and then that's actually this tube right here. And then you know, your leak by lines, your hitch line, I pulled it off the T here and finagled it out of there. These guys have got some lines going into the remotes here teed off on this one SCV because they got a front hitch. That's what they're running, that Zwiegberg front hitch off. And of course, you know, all your these are fancier tractors, the R series. They're all stepper motors for the they're proportional controlled stepper motors for the SCVs and the hitch. So there's 3 remotes and a stepper motor plug for the hitch. And of course you've got your priority block. This line here is a load sense line going to the priority block. Over here coming off the piston pump, and then you've got the actual load sense line coming off the priority block going back into the compensator. And I don't even remember what the hell these 2 are for here. They're for brakes or something. I don't remember what the hell those are for. I know I've diagnosed a problem with one of these before on something there. What the hell are those going to? Going back into this gaggle of shit back here somewhere. And then the other thing is, get your 5mm Allen wrench, pop these little brake bleeder lines. These come off the finals, or not the finals, but actually the center of the rear end housing there. And then there's one bracket, this one back here on this wire loom that bolts to the back of the rock shaft housing. Then of course you're going to have your pressure line going into your piston pump. You gotta do that. And I always undo them down here just because, and I've got a fitting for it to cap it and plug it. I got some cat flange plugs and caps too, but it's just easier to unscrew it down there than dick around, you know, taking 4 bolts out in the cat flange fitting. But anyways, then your 4 bolts here. Now we're gonna get the crane on it with a strap and get it out of the way. And then we can pull this hose off the nipple, then pull the fitting loose, then pull the 2 hold down bolts back in here loose on this tube, and then get it out of our way. I thought my straps were the same length. Okay. Now we can, while we're here, I'll put the diff lock bolts back in for the solenoid. And then this line here, how is this? I'm not really sure how that's working, but we'll figure it out. Alright, so I think I might have found the problem before I even take this rear end apart. The ring gear where the clutch pack is. Okay, so the oil comes in here, goes through a channel, and it comes right in here, right? Okay, so then it's gonna come, here it is over here. It's gonna come between, there should be 2 O-rings, and I noticed this O-ring here came out in 2 pieces. This one right here. Then it actually goes through a hole and comes back through here, which goes through those 2 metallic sealing rings, and they actually port the oil through, it would appear, or am I on the I'm on the wrong end there, moron. Hang on a second, I was already on the right end. What the hell am I doing? We might just air check it. You see the hole right there? Those seal up that hole, and that's where the oil goes into your diff lock. So I see this O-ring is torn right here. Here's part of it still in the housing. So let's, before we tear this apart, let's air check it. Well, I'll tell you, there's nothing wrong with this clutch pack, but I'm gonna take it out of there anyway, because I'm here. And try to get this. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. He's holding good. So the problem is that O-ring that was on that side bearing quill, that O-ring was torn, and this would have been the O-ring towards the inside of the case, so it would have been just blowing right back in, right through here, and probably blowing past these threads and right into the case. So I've never seen one do that, to be honest with you. That's a new one for me. Huh. What caused that to happen? Why would it do that? What is it, nicked or partially torn at the factory? And these guys never used the diff lock? Not sure. Well, I got more parts to order. I got a lot of cleanup to do here. I'm gonna go ahead and rip this off. All I gotta do is pull the ring gear loose and pull that clutch piston out of there and just make sure it's good. Might as well just put a new seal on it while you're there, you know. So that's what I'm gonna wind up doing. I'll probably pull both brake pistons. They're right here. I'll take a porta power. I've got a porta power set up and a hose, and I'll pump this brake line up. Which one is it? Where's the pressure line at? Which one's the pressure line? This one. You can actually tee into it right here on these and pump it up and it'll pop this out. So anyways, I got to go out and do a welding job for somebody real quick that has no water. I got the ring gear off. I can't believe they didn't put any pusher holes to push their piston off. Brass punch here. Let's see here. I need to get, I'm going the wrong way though. How are we gonna do this? I need to get the piston to pop out of there. There we go. I got a little bit of a gap there now. The reason I'm sitting here doing it on this chunk of cardboard is because some of the bitch is heavy, and the way the special tool goes through there, you can't run a strap. You can't run a strap through where the side gears go and pull it apart. Should be your piston. Got a bonded piston in it. I mean, I can't see that going bad, really. I am almost certain the O-ring is what was causing the troubles. You can tell that they slipped it though, trying to put it in. That one's kind of burned a little bit. Side gears and everything look really good, so ain't nothing wrong with that stuff. Put it back in there. But I didn't know that was a bonded piston that way. I don't know. Probably be just fine, to be honest with you. And bonded pistons last a long time. Now, if it was just a regular piston with a lip seal on it, I'd replace that seal. But I don't see anything wrong with that. That's a pretty healthy diff lock, really. The actual sealing surface for the piston's right here. So that was in like that, so which means it'll be going in like this. Yeah, the oil's gonna be coming in through there and pushing it that way, so. Alright. Well, I don't think there's anything wrong at all with the actual rear end. The problem was with that O-ring that was busted on the bearing quill there where the oil feeds through it. So anyhow, so I got to make a little parts list here and get everything coming for this. And I need to go over there and start splitting that TW25. I got a 4L60E automatic transmission. I used to rebuild, I don't know, I probably went through 50 of these things. Nothing like the automatic transmission shops, but these, you always lose reverse on these 4L60E automatics, and that's what happens. The reverse sunshell, either they break like that, or the spines strip out, or they'll break right here and they'll just spin inside that. But I got a new sunshell and got a new rebuild kit and everything for it. So anyway, all right, guys. Well, that's the end of this one for right now. I've just about utilized every O-ring flat face cap that I've got as far as number 8s and number 10s in my whole inventory. They're all in the rock shaft housing and the tractor. So, but everything's capped off on this. I'll take this out there and I'm going to throw this on the pallet and throw both finals on the pallet and take all this shit out there and pressure wash it off before I put it back on. And we'll have to sop out this housing really good. And now that you got this apart, your suction screen, there's one right here that you, the way you access that one is right here. Right there, that plug. And I already got the suction tube that goes into the bottom of the IVT. And there's a 2-bolt flange there on the other side of this housing that pulls this one here out. So you might as well go ahead and pull those suction screens out of there and clean them out. So anyhow, all right, upwards and onwards.